Hey, this is Raw. I'm doing FCA Adult Training, and it's just so important. The most important stat in sports is how many kids get saved and grow in the Lord. That's the only thing that lasts for eternity. And this is a great opportunity. Kids center their identity, belonging, and significance around sports. A lot of parents do also. And so it's really important that we share the truth and stuff. And the purpose of this is we have to make them feel more positive about Jesus. Majority of the world has a negative view of Jesus, not the true view, and we want to present Jesus at the real Jesus of the Bible and have kids get saved and change the world. A verse that really comforts me is Deuteronomy 31:6. Be strong and courageous. Don't be afraid. Don't panic before them. For the Lord God will personally go ahead of you. He'll neither fail you nor abandon you. And the thing that really stands out in that verse to me is that he goes before me. I have a lot of negative emotions, like I'm bothering people. It's going to be a dud. No one's going to show up. And I'm like, hey, God has gone before me. He's already prepared the way, and he really has. So we have such an open door in Hermiston and Umatilla and areas, Stanfield, to do FCA. Is just amazing. Another verse that's really useful for FCA: our people must learn to do good by meeting urgent needs of others. They will not be unproductive. Meet urgent needs. What are the urgent needs of teenagers? They want to be successful athletically. They're concerned about their date life. But man, talk to their needs. A lot of times you could have a great message, but it doesn't meet their needs. They're not going to connect. And you can have a lousy message that meets their needs and they're going to connect. So try to look back when you were their age, try to relate to them. Okay, here's some assumptions that you need to assume. First of all, they're not Christians. Most of the guys are on the team, girls on the team are not Christians, are not saved. Geared the meeting towards non-Christians. They don't know what a Christian is. They think I'm going to go to heaven because I didn't do bad things. And that's what most of them think. That's a lie. That's not true. And we should have a goal to present the gospel to them. Probably the second last meeting of the year. If you do the last meeting of the year, something will always come up. Like the middle schools have pizza parties and stuff. So when you feel led, man, share the gospel, pass out cards, show them the bridge illustration, and have them fill out comment cards so we can get contact information. They have the wrong view of God. They think God's impersonal, he's boring. Following Jesus, they're going to miss out. Just the opposite is true. They don't know the Christian terms like chaplain, grace, salvation, gospel. The terms they just don't know. Someone said it's about God's grace. Well, they don't know what grace means. And so, yeah, just be real careful with your language and stuff to make sure they understand it. Assume they don't know anything. If they're raised in a Christian home, they aren't necessarily Christians. Studies show that majority of kids raised in a Christian home aren't saved until around 14 or 15 when they go to a camp or a mission trip or a conference, in which you want to encourage the kids to go to, but don't assume they are saved. Okay, here's the meeting format I found really successful over the years. Before or after practice or lunchtime. Usually I start while the late ones come in. I usually have a bunch of hard candy, and I say, hey, anyone got a positive comment for their coach? Anyone got a positive comment for a teammate? And I'll just throw out some candy to kind of fill up time, make it a positive environment. And then your message, if you're indoors, you can show a video. I have portable projectors with that run off batteries that have a sound system. Or you can use a school computer. But story is underlined. Story is just huge. I notice when I talk to kids, I have too many points. They don't listen and stuff. But when you tell a story, they just really tune in. And the best stories are your stories. Also, just watching stories of these testimony videos. Like one time I had a video of the Oklahoma quarterback who had an identity crisis in college and came to the Lord and stuff. And they ended up shifting the football weightlifting to plays outside at the end. So I thought, well, they're not going to go back to the weight room. So I just told the guy's story on the video, and they're very attentive. Object lessons grab people's attention. Anything you can do as an object lesson, like I'll take a bottle and I'll pour red Gatorade in it, and I'll turn it upside down. Guess what's coming out? Red Gatorade. Then I pour blue Gatorade in there and turn it upside down, and blue Gatorade comes out. Hey, what you pour in your mind comes out, talking about their battle in their mind. Be as visual as possible. I use poster boards sometimes when I'm out on the field. Get a guest speaker, but make sure that a guest speaker, you tell them how long, tell them not to say anything about Catholics or Mormons or anything negative. and they'll get tired of you. And it's good to have a guest speaker. They have really good youth pastors in town. They communicate really well. We want to use them. We want them to get involved in youth group. And it's only mandatory that you should get different speakers. Plus, it makes it a lot easier on you. Okay. Tell them to share with one person what stood out to them. So the message is over. I'll say, turn to a person next to you and share one thing that stood out to you. Then I'll ask the whole group, let's have 3 people that stood out to them. That reinforces the message, gives them like a sentence or 2 of fellowship. I try to keep the meetings to about 7 to 10 minutes or so. You keep them too long, they'll leave. And sometimes parents are waiting. You keep them too short, it's not worth their time. Do a wrap up with a few main points that you just wrap it up and say what you want them to know and remember, and maybe you can tie it into a personal story. Discussion, ask them a question. Already did that. Start of the season, have them write out a question on 3x5 cards anonymously and collect it, and maybe you can answer one of those a week or take a whole meeting to do that. Start the first week of practice. I noticed that when you have a lot of momentum, a lot of enthusiasm, they want to, impress the coach. And FCAs are better or more successful this season when you start the very first week of practice and make sure you're ready to go and stuff. When people who wait, they usually just don't go as good because you lose that momentum and they get busy, especially before school. Once the season starts, they just get busier and busier. When school starts, to get busier and busier. Get the freshman, JV, and varsity on the same page. Try to get them done at the same time. Let people know, hey, let's finish at this time. We're having FCA. One time the JV team had a team dinner. It wasn't communicated. Another team had film planned and stuff. So there's lack of communication between the whole program. So it's important to get out the same page. I know in some sports, maybe the freshmen or JVs get out earlier. Sometimes you might have to do 2, 3 meetings in a row. Okay, things they need to know. Christianity is not a religion. They think it's good works outweigh bad works, and you got to go to church, and that's what it is. And it's kind of a pain. It's kind of a chore. No, it's a relation with God that He wants to walk with you and guide you, and has surprises for you and wants to use you to make a difference in the world. Use that saying a lot. God's way is better than your ways. I think more than anything, the FCAs I've done, they've all been pretty successful, and I think one of the reasons why is I show videos or tell stories of pro athletes or Olympic athletes that are successful, and they think, gosh, they need God, and explain why they need God. 22 out of the 32 NFL quarterbacks are Christians, strong Christians that stand up for their faith. That makes a big impression on people. I know that's how I found God. I went to FCA camp. They had an Olympic power lifter, gold medal, Olympic pole vaulter, John Wooden, UCLA coach, telling them they need God. That made a huge impression on me. What is the difference between Catholic and Christians or Christianity? That's the most common question I've got over the years. Probably half the kids are Catholic or have a Catholic background because of the Hispanic population. I tell them that Jesus is a hamburger, and to get to heaven, you need to eat a hamburger. You can't eat a chicken sandwich or a fish sandwich. It's got to be a hamburger. But it doesn't matter what restaurant you want. It doesn't matter if it's Burger King, Wendy's, or Red Line or whatever, not Red Line, Red Robin. It doesn't matter as long as it's a hamburger. Hershey's has 50 candy bars. It doesn't matter if it's Twix or Reese's. You got to eat a Hershey bar. It doesn't matter which one. So they're like the different churches. Or like, hey, the Seahawks are the NFL. You say, are you in the NFL? No, I'm in the Seahawks. Well, then you're in the NFL. So that's like NFL, Hershey's. The hamburger is like Jesus, and the other things are different divisions. There's no division in heaven. You can't earn your way to heaven. People think your good works outweigh your bad works. You can go to heaven. And growing up, I was just trying to earn points by the things I did in the church, the communion, altar boy, different things like that. But it's a free gift, and you want to serve Him out of gratitude. What the word Christian means, it means Christ in you. It's only used twice in the Bible. The term followers of Christ is 33 times in the Bible. Okay, here's some miscellaneous stuff that help you. Get a core of a team to meet with them and challenge them to make it happen. So get 3 or 4 people that would come to FCA and say, hey, can you come and invite your friends? I wasn't going to start FCA and utility basketball. It was early late practice, kind of hard. But I had two guys I knew I could count on the team, and I told them to make it happen. It was very successful. Take a picture and send it to the coach and get their names, print the picture, write their names on there. If you don't have a printer, I have one, send it to me and I'll print it for you. And study the names and pray over the names. It's just huge when you remember their names. It's almost as important as the message. Check the weather. You might need to meet in the hallway. Sometimes it'll be really hot, so you want to meet in the shade. Sometimes it's just right, so you can meet right on the field. Sometimes it'll be too windy. So that could influence. I know at times I borrowed used my bus and to put a team on the bus for lacrosse or cross country because the weather was bad. Communicate with the coach. I usually on Sundays, I'm trying to find out what works for FCA this week. I try to meet the same time each week, but that doesn't always work out. There could be a team dinner or a conflict or something. I always ask what is the best to practice. So it's, it's better to move it around and meet all the time at the same time, but it's helpful to meet at the same time if you don't have a conflict. Get someone to take your place if you can't make it. So I'm going to give you a list of people that have a good testimony that you can say, you just get a player to be the host. For example, a guy who comes to FCA all the time, they'll know the format. They've seen it a few times. Can you be the host at FCA, make it happen? And a guy named Joe's the speaker. Just introduce Joe. He's the youth pastor at this church and stuff. And so a couple times I haven't been at the meeting. I just had the refreshments dropped off and put a student in charge or a coach in charge and introduce to the speaker. Use a guest speaker. Give them a brief training first. Don't tell them, not 20 minutes, about 7 to 10 minutes, and don't say anything like about different faiths and stuff. Put in a student in charge who can introduce the speaker and kind of do the rapid. Something that's really key, number 7, make them leave FCA instead of coming to it. Like in basketball, we just had really poor turnouts. And then all of a sudden with Drew was basketball coach, we had great turnouts. What he did, he'd get the team in the circle and he would talk to them and say, hey, we're going to have FCA right here. You can leave if you want to. So they're already at FCA. To leave, they have to it goes against peer pressure. And the turnout went from like maybe 10 to 30 and about 90% of the team. And then Rebecca Pridemore did the same thing in softball. She had the girls in a circle, a little team talk at the end, and said, we're having FCA right here. Unless the weather's really bad and you want to go to the dugout and stuff, get a little bit better weather and stuff. But the closer they are to the meeting, the more likely to come. I do football. The weather's usually good in football. I use the shade of the scoreboard on the grass before they come out off the field. And once they get in the locker room, you never see them again. And so that's worked really well. We used to do it in the classroom after showers, and we'd get maybe 20 guys, 15 guys, and now we're getting probably 60 guys just because of that change. Okay, go to one of their games. If you're a coach, of course, you're at the games, but if you're just doing it, as from an outsider and stuff, go to their games and watch them and make sure they see you. You don't have to stay the whole game. Share the gospel the second to last meeting. You can use a video or I have the little business cards that has gospel on it. Have them fill out the comment card. That's just huge. I was doing FCA for cheerleaders and a girl died before I could share the gospel. And that just happened last year. Same thing in Utila. I didn't share the gospel of boys soccer. I kind of lost track of how many practices were left and missed out an opportunity. And a soccer player died over the summer. You never know. And I always wanted to share the gospel. Promote camps. I mean, just huge, man. We'll probably have Memorial Weekend for FCA camp. Promote Christian movies that are coming out. August 23rd, there's a Christian movie called The Forge coming out. Promote campus life and youth groups and Christian events. There's a Field of Faith coming up in Tri-Cities. Teach them about the YouVersion Bible app. I have a handout that shows them how to use it. And it has like dating, how to break up. FCA has about 30 plans. It has coaches plans. You might want to do one for your personal use. Type in football, soccer, basketball. There's all kinds of sports plans. Maybe you can get someone to do it on the team with other teammates. Prepare in advance so message has time to ferment. When you get a message way in advance and it's like wine. The more you think about it, you have a week to kind of go over it. You're going to do a lot better when just winging it at the last minute. A good thing is get away to get ahead. Get away for like 3 hours and just jot down a bunch of stories and topics and stuff. And so trying to prepare 3-4 messages at a time makes it a lot easier. Over communicate with me. I need to know how many are coming. I need to know at the end of the season how many made decisions are made for Christ. What was the average attendance? I have to turn in a report. So let me know. I advertise on Sunday night on social media, so everyone knows when FCAs are for the week. And I usually have to wait around for coaches on Sunday to contact me. And so if you could take the initiative and contact me as soon as possible when the meeting is going to be, let me know, and I'll get it in the school announcements, and I'll do like all of them at once in the school announcements. Make sure you get in the team app. That's helpful. Return the ice chest the day up. If you don't return the ice chest and there's ice in it, it will melt, and then I have to go buy more ice. And so I just want to buy ice, and it should last about 8 weeks if you return on time. Have variety, different speakers, different format, questions. Just try to think of the different things. You don't want to do the same thing every time. Get them before they change, before they go in the locker room. That's just huge. Do the off season. You know, if you're a coach, the off season, they're not as busy. You don't have games. They're not stressed out. And you know, this is probably the only positive influence they have in their life. The only spiritual influence is the FCA meeting. Hopefully they'll get involved in church and youth group and stuff. But man, what an opportunity to do off season. I mean, I do weight training in the morning. There's 60 people. A lot of them having a free time during the day. And so make the most of that off season. Get your roster and pray daily. Man, know all those names and pray them every day. Get your assistant coaches to pray. Get your people at church to pray. Get relatives to pray. That's just huge. I already talked about the off season. That's kind of repetitions. Okay. Have a spirit of excellence. They'll give you one chance. If you wing it and the meeting doesn't go well, they'll probably never come back. That's why people are with youth groups, with churches and stuff. You got one chance. I found that Great Value Pop-Tarts are the cheapest thing. I buy those a lot. Otter Pops are really inexpensive. Sunny Delight's cheaper than Gatorade, but just let me know and I'll have it delivered. Sometimes I'll just have you pick it up because I'll be in another school. Meet before they change, already covered that. You can meet on the court, in the classroom, in the hallways and rooms. Okay, try to meet the same day each week. Make a schedule for the whole season, but there are team dinners. There's homecoming week. There's parents meeting. Some teams can meet before practice. Last year, I met with 3 or 4 teams before practice if it's okay with the coach. And yeah, go for it. Advertise on TMAP, school announcements, and social media. And here's some resources. FCA.org has resources, all kinds of meetings to give you ideas. I have a flash drive I'll make specifically for your sport, or male and female, and you can play it in the classroom or on my portable projector. You can play flash drive, all that. YouTube, there's a thing called Sports Spectrum. The guy quit ESPN and he just does interviews with people. I wouldn't play those because they're kind of long, but I listen to them and I get really good ideas for talks from them. NBC or CBN Sports, that's from the 700 Club. That's fairly new, started this summer. They have a bunch of shorts. Sometimes I'll go Instagram Shorts or CBN Sports or Spectrum Shorts, get those 15-minute segments and put a bunch of them together to make a talk and message. On YouTube, I have FCA Umatilla and Morrow County. Every sports video in the world I subscribe to, and I download it if it's good. And it's usable on the FCA Umatilla Morrow County Facebook. Plus I have near-death experiences, salvation, and different things like that. Evolution, evidence Jesus rose from the dead. So it's a really useful website and stuff. So you can email FCA Thinking has a thing called Daily Impact. They send out a daily devotional every day. It goes ready, set, go. Ready is about verse, sets the story, and go is 3 questions. You might be able to use that for a lesson. It's kind of short though. Unpack this. Every day he takes a current sporting event, probably from the previous day, and makes it a devotion. And Kingdom Sports also, you can subscribe to them. They have devotionals. All those last 3 are emails and stuff. So best resources are your stories. I mean, your personal stories. Everything's an object lesson, your life lessons. As you watch sports, you can tell those stories and stuff, of the different sporting events. A lot of the students are watching those and stuff. Um, so I hope you watch this whole video and maybe review it and really apply these things. This is stuff I've been doing for 10 years. I've had a lot of adjustments and stuff and learned a lot of lessons and stuff. So this has been the most effective.